Well guys, this is some exciting news here because we have another company joining against the DEI agenda, and this is some great news for gamers. Finally, companies are coming around. Maybe the Trump effect has had some sort of effect on this, and of course the woke journals, the media is having an absolute meltdown, which is an amazing, hilarious thing. So let's just see how this runs out, guys. So first and foremost, Lords of the Fallen studio CI Games will not integrate DEI elements in their games to maximize player enjoyment and commercial success, because they're afraid, and obviously they should be, that they know that when they put DEI in games, they've seen that high-profile games have failed disastrously, right? So during an investor chat, the studio was asked about their stance on DEI gaming. Global marketing director Ryan Hill confirmed that the studio remains committed to producing player-first video games. Honestly, that's what it should be anyway, right? For games that prioritizes excellent user experience with compelling themes and characters created specifically for core and adjacent audiences. That's right, you heard it right. Not for everyone or for the modern audience. No. For the core and adjacent audiences. While some recent video games have taken the opportunity to implement social and political agendas within their experiences, Hill continued the lower than expected commercial performance of some of these games shows that many players do not appreciate these elements. 100%. As such, the studio will continue to develop experiences that maximize player enjoyment and commercial success. That is awesome, guys. I mean, this is exactly what you would expect, right? And we have here, Lords of the Fallen CEO declares his company will not integrate DEI, and we have a response on this one. It says the following here. We have it here. Over to X, the company's CEO, Marek Tymiński, doubled down, responding to a excerpt from this website, right? Which says the following, and then Pirate Nation put here the excerpt, as you can see here, and says, Lord of the Fallen studio CI Games will not integrate DEI into their games, and then Marek says the following, exactly, no, we will not. So basically kind of clarifying that it's not a misunderstanding, it's 100% transparent. They will not include DEI because they believe that DEI is not going to help them in any shape or form, which again, guys, is common sense. Now, the problem we have is that the media shows, some of these journals such as PC Gamer have taken this very badly with this amazing title. Lord of the Fallen publisher embraces fear of the DEI boogeyman, says it will not include any social or political agendas in this game. So for them, the DEI boogeyman is a myth, it's a legend, because it has not been proven that the games failed because of DEI, when it's obviously on the wall. Problem is, they don't want to recognize it, because that's how it works in the DEI world. They don't want to recognize their failures, because if they would lose their jobs. Common sense, right? So this is what we have here, guys. We have here this one here. This is the one here, right? So this is here the following. This is really important, this part, right? Which is the following here. So integrate the social elements. We have seen a number of high-profile releases. I just changed the contrast. This is better to read, right? High-profile releases underperforming commercially. So when he says high-profile, he means big games, right? Now, this is the journalist in this website. Hill didn't explain how exactly he or CI Games define DEI, which has become short slang for the slang things I don't like among some parts of the video game fandom, nor did he offer any examples of games that failed due to their social or political agendas. Concord and Dustborn are commonly held up as examples of such, but the reality is that there's just two of literally thousands of games. This is such an unhinged article, because the CEO already said that the problem is that they looked at games which had, were like high profile games. As you can see here, we have seen a number of high profile games, all right, underperforming, right? A high profile games. So they're not talking about the small indie games which nobody cares about, because these indie games maybe like 500 people, 1,000 people play them. They're talking about the small profile games, sorry, the high profile games, which is the problem, because these high profile games, you have to invest a ton of money into these games, and then what happens if you lose the money, if you lose your investment, you're gonna have massive losses, right? Which is the problem, right? He did unfortunately lend credence to the ugly and patently false assertion that DEI is ruining gaming by, well, that's not really clear either. I mean, no, it's not false, it's truth. I mean, that's what we've seen in 2024. Dragon Age the Veilguard, Concord, Dustborn. What else we have here? There's more games. Flintlock. What else we have? Unknown Nine Awakening. I mean, there's so many games which were AA, AAA, and indies, which all of them failed. They had losses. Alan Wake 2, which is still to this point is not profitable. And of course, they had involvement with Sweet Baby and consultants. So the writing is on the wall. They just don't want to read it because they're afraid of the truth. But that almost doesn't matter. As a hot button buzzword among angry reactionary gamers, the DEI boogeyman doesn't need a definition. It just needs to stir up lizard brain emotions on the way of generating views. Hill's comments stand in sharp contrast to those expressed by another Polish game company, Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077. On its diversity and inclusion page, they have a special website, CD Projekt Red, which does in fact define the studio's approach to DEI in detail. A diversity of perspective unlocks creativity and increase innovations. Basically, these are just buzzwords, and this doesn't literally mean anything. This doesn't mean anything. This is just basically just putting bloat and just kind of like trying to sell people that you're trying to make something amazing, but this doesn't have any meaning whatsoever. So guys, that's the problem here. They're using now CD Red as an example that, look at this company is using DEI successfully, but that's not true because CD Projekt Red has not launched an independent game in 2024 when we've seen that the DEI slop have failed. If CD Red would have launched a game infested by DEI, it would have failed as well. And that's the problem. They don't acknowledge that, because if they do acknowledge that, then of course, you know, their whole story and their whole, like, I would say, agenda comes crumbling. So guys, that's it for today's video on this one. It just goes to show that these gaming companies are finally waking up, and the journals are really angry. They're really angry that they are not following DEI anymore, because many of these journals, very important, they were hired because of the DEI push. So now because DEI is getting basically forgotten very soon, they're afraid of their own jobs, because of course if nobody supports DEI, you don't need DEI staff. You need staff which are actually experienced, have knowledge, and do things properly, and that's the problem here. So guys, that's it for today's video on this one. Quite exciting, to be honest, that another game company is actually pushing forward to avoiding DEI and focusing on what matters to gamers: player enjoyment and commercial success. Common sense, guys. Anyway, that's it for today's video. As always, see you later in the next one.